Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're exploring some profound ideas about ourselves and reality as we unpack this book.
hmm
It's going to be quite a journey.
It really is. Yeah, the book dives right in, taking us on this exploration of what it means to be a seeker.
Okay.
And, it looks at different kinds of seekers, right? You have those driven by pure curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are those searching out some sort of desperation, almost like,
Yeah.
they've hit a wall and need answers.
Right.
And then there are those whose seeking is fueled by their own egos.
Yeah, that's so interesting because one of the things that really stuck with me from the book is the idea that we often approach knowledge way too casually.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we're kids,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
distracted by a shiny object.
Exactly. We kind of dip our toes into different ideas, but we
Yeah.
don't really commit to understanding them deeply.
Exactly. We lack that true commitment.
The commitment, yeah.
Yeah, and the book really contrasts this with
It does.
the true seeker.
Yeah.
Someone who's willing to put everything on the line.
Their whole life, even.
Yeah, in their pursuit of truth. And it's kind of jarring
Oh, absolutely.
when you see it laid out like that.
It makes you question your own approach
Exactly.
to seeking, right?
Yeah, and there's this incredible metaphor in the book
Oh, yes.
about the seed and the soil.
I love that one.
So imagine knowledge being like a seed,
Okay.
right? And it needs fertile ground to take root.
Yeah, yeah.
And that fertile ground is a receptive heart.
The soil of the heart.
Yes, and that's when knowledge can truly blossom into understanding.
Beautiful imagery.
It is.
And it really highlights that it's not just about taking in information.
It's not passive.
No, not at all. There needs to be a willingness to let that knowledge change you.
Yeah, to let it take root,
Exactly.
transform you.
And that brings us to the role of the teacher.
Okay.
Because someone has to plant those seeds, right?
Right.
And the book is very clear about what makes a true teacher. It says that they don't speak from ego or authority.
But from experience.
Yeah, they've walked the path,
Mm-hmm.
they've felt the thorns and found the hidden treasures.
It's like they've gone through this incredible journey,
They have.
and now they're offering a map to others,
Precisely.
showing them the way.
Guiding them through the tricky parts.
Yes, and pointing out things they might miss along the way.
And one thing that really struck me was how the book talks about the pain a true teacher feels.
Oh, yeah.
Because sharing these profound truths, it can be really difficult.
Because it might challenge the listener's beliefs,
It might even shatter them.
and that's a heavy burden to carry.
It is. But a true teacher is willing to do it because they know the value of these truths.
So it's not about being right
No.
or proving a point.
Not at all. It's about helping others awaken to something deeper.
And that brings us to what I think is the core message of the book.
Let's hear it.
It's about the importance of actually doing something with the knowledge you gain.
Yes. Knowledge without action.
It's kind of meaningless.
It's like having a detailed map,
Okay.
but never leaving your house.
Oh, I see.
You can study the map, memorize every landmark,
Yeah.
but you'll never actually experience the beauty or the challenges of the terrain.
You're not really going anywhere.
Exactly, and it's the same with knowledge.
If you don't put it into practice.
It remains theoretical and incomplete.
So the book's really emphasizing that real understanding comes from experience,
It's from embodying the knowledge, letting it transform you.
from taking that knowledge and actually living it.
It's about bridging the gap between knowing and being.
Yeah, that's a powerful way to put it.
It's a journey of integration, of aligning our actions with our understanding.
Now, things get really interesting when the book delves into this whole idea of the self,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe I should say the illusion of the self.
Right. It challenges everything we think we know about who we are.
Exactly.
And it starts by introducing this concept of mine. Yeah, it's that deep-seated human tendency to identify with things outside of ourselves.
Like possessions and relationships.
Exactly, and even our physical bodies.
So it's like we try to build our identity on these external factors,
We're constantly looking for validation from them.
trying to find a sense of self-worth in things that are ultimately impermanent.
And the book takes it even further.
How so?
It questions whether our bodies truly belong to us.
Wow.
It traces them back to our parents
Okay.
and ultimately to the universe itself.
So it's suggesting this fundamental interconnectedness,
Exactly, we're not these isolated individuals.
but part of a much larger web of existence?
And that leads to this really interesting discussion about detachment.
Detachment.
Yeah, the book suggests that recognizing the illusory nature of mind can lead to a profound shift in perspective.
So it's not about physically renouncing everything.
Not necessarily. It's more about an internal shift,
Okay,
a freedom from the need to cling to things.
I see. So it's about understanding that our true essence isn't found in external possessions or achievements,
Or even in our relationships.
but in something deeper within.
Something unchanging and eternal.
And this brings us to another fascinating concept,
Hit me with it.
the witness.
Ah, the witness.
It's described as this unchanging observer within us
It's like having an inner observer
who watches the play of our thoughts and emotions.
without getting caught up in the drama.
So it's like having a front row seat to the show of our lives, but not being on stage.
And the book actually encourages readers to try and become aware of this witness.
To notice that space between our thoughts and the silent observer.
It sounds like a way to cultivate a sense of inner peace
Absolutely. It allows us to detach from the constant chatter of the mind.
and observe our thoughts and emotions with more objectivity.
Exactly. And that brings us to another mind-blowing exploration in the book,
I'm ready.
the nature of reality itself.
Okay, this should be good.
The book presents this radical idea,
What is it? That the world is a mirror,
a
a
mirror.
reflection of our own consciousness.
So it's saying that how we perceive the world isn't objective.
Not entirely. The book suggests that our perception is colored by our thoughts.
Our beliefs, our desires,
Exactly. It's like we're each wearing a unique pair of glasses.
that filter our experience of reality.
And that raises some pretty profound questions.
Like what?
Is there an objective reality out there?
Independent of our minds.
Or is the world we perceive a projection of our own consciousness?
That's a pretty mind-bending concept.
It is, and it leads to this discussion about non-duality.
Non-duality.
The idea that all things are interconnected and unified,
It challenges our tendency to see the world in terms of opposites,
good and bad,
self and other.
happiness and suffering.
The book suggests that these divisions are ultimately constructs of the mind.
And when we transcend these limitations,
We can experience this profound state of non-duality.
where all divisions dissolve.
So it's about recognizing that underlying unity of all things.
Exactly, and the book goes on to outline a 4-step path to achieve this state of liberation.
4 steps.
Yeah, they are listening, contemplation, assimilation, and samadhi.
Samadhi.
That's a state of enlightenment.
Wow, it sounds like quite a journey.
It is, but the book emphasizes that these steps are not just intellectual exercises,
But practices that we need to embody
to let them penetrate our hearts and minds.
to transform us from the inside out. So it seems like this idea of liberation that the book keeps talking about, it's not just about reaching some distant goal. It's more like this ongoing process.
Yeah, you're right. It's about inner transformation.
And it all leads to samadhi, which, if I remember correctly, is a state of enlightenment.
It is, and the book describes samadhi as the state where we experience truth directly, without any of the usual mental clutter, the concepts and limitations that we normally impose on our understanding.
So it's almost like a shift in consciousness.
Exactly. It goes beyond just intellectual understanding. It's about directly experiencing reality as it truly is.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
Well, the book offers this really helpful analogy to explain samadhi. Imagine a wave on the ocean, right?
Mhm.
It rises and falls, constantly changing. And on the surface, it seems separate from the vastness of the ocean itself. But deep down, at its core, the wave is the ocean.
I see. So samadhi is like realizing our true nature as that ocean of consciousness.
Yes, precisely. It's about recognizing that we're not just these separate waves. We're part of something much larger and more profound.
Beyond all the temporary fluctuations of our thoughts and emotions.
Exactly. And the book makes a really important point. It says that this state of liberation, it's not reserved for some select few.
It's available to anyone.
Anyone who is willing to commit to the path of self-discovery.
That's encouraging.
It is. And it brings us back to that powerful idea we talked about earlier, the world as a mirror.
Reflecting our own consciousness.
Exactly. It's a call to take responsibility for our own reality, to recognize that we're not just passive observers.
We're active participants in shaping our experience.
And if we can change our internal landscape, our thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions,
We can actually change our experience of the world.
it's a profound idea, and it really makes you wonder, what if we could choose to see the world through a different lens?
One that reflects unity and interconnectedness.
Instead of separation and division, how would that transform our relationships, our actions, our whole experience of life?
That's a powerful question to contemplate.
It is, and that's the invitation the book offers us.
An invitation to what?
To engage with the world from a place of greater wisdom, compassion, and understanding, not to escape from the world,
but to transform it.
by transforming ourselves.
It's been quite a deep dive,
It has.
exploring these mind-bending ideas about the self, reality, and this path to liberation. I feel like I've gained so much from this conversation.
Me too. And for those of you listening, we leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
If the world is a reflection of your own consciousness, what kind of world do you choose to create?
What seeds of awareness and understanding will you nurture within yourself to transform your experience of reality?
The journey of self-discovery is ongoing, and we encourage you to continue exploring these ideas and see where they lead you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.